Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing, Inc.
Bahamian authorities ease up on immigration crackdown amid Hurricane Dorian recovery. Our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Monday, September 9th. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Ricardo Roberts. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. With the death toll from Hurricane Dorian in the Bahamas rising and recovery efforts now getting underway, officials in the Bahamas will focus their energies on relief efforts, and an immigration crackdown that had been underway before the deadly hurricane has now been put on the back burner. The government says it has suspended the crackdown on illegal immigrants in the hurricane-hit Abaco Islands and Grand Bahama. A statement from the Royal Bahamas Police Force said that as of Sunday, 45 bodies were found, 37 in Abaco and 8 in the Grand Bahama. Before Dorian hit, the government had been making a concentrated effort to round up and deport illegal immigrants, particularly those from Haiti, many of whom lived in Abaco. But Immigration Minister Ellsworth Johnson said the country is now experiencing a humanitarian crisis in the aftermath of the hurricane, and the Immigration Department has been given strict instructions to concentrate on assisting with efforts to rescue and save lives regardless of place of origin, nationality, or immigration status. The government also announced that it is providing the necessary resources to ensure safety and security on the two islands. A total of 220 security officers from the Jamaica and Trinidad and Tobago Defense Forces arrived on the weekend to assist local law enforcement in maintaining law and order. Trinidad and Tobago's National Security Minister Stuart Young accompanied the contingent from the Twin Island Republic. He said Port of Spain will be sending other forms of assistance to the affected areas.
As I address the 100 troops that I've brought with me today, it's actually 119 members of the Trinidad and Tobago Defense Force, with a party of 19 here to do reconnaissance, to feed back to us in the next few days the logistics of what's taking place on the ground and how we may be better able to support. But I will, Chief of Defense Staff of Trinidad and Tobago and myself, will be leaving 100 men and women from our regiment, our Coast Guard, our Air Guard, and our reserves to assist you all in your public order, medics, as well as engineers. I've also brought a small crew from a Trinidad and Tobago Electricity Commission to assist there, and I've been in contact with the chairman of our Water and Sewerage Authority as well.
Meantime, Barbadians dug deep into their pockets on Sunday to raise almost $441,000 to assist the Bahamas in their hurricane relief efforts. A total of $440,956.41 was raised during the Rise Again Bahamas telethon, which was supported by all local media houses as well as the Barbados-based Caribbean Media Corporation. And Minister of Information, Broadcasting and Public Affairs, Senator Lucille Moore, urged Barbadians to continue donating as the online platform would remain open for another 48 hours, while accounts at First Caribbean International Bank would be open until weekend. The government itself is expected to match the pledges from Sunday's telethon. 2 days before the event, Prime Minister Mia Mottley told a media briefing that she wanted to see Barbadians donate at least $500,000, and although her government is in an IMF program, it would match whatever citizens gave. Now, amid the hurricane recovery, there is concern that Grand Bahama could be facing an environmental catastrophe following an oil spill. Bahamas National Trust Executive Director Eric Carey says there could be widespread and long-term environmental implications from the spill at Equinor, formerly known as Statoil, in East Grand Bahama if left unaddressed. And he called on government to hold Equinor fully accountable. Chairman of the National Disaster Committee, John Michael Clark, confirmed that the oil storage site was severely compromised during the passage of Hurricane Dorian. But on Sunday, he said the government has been in contact with company officials and remediation efforts were underway.
A vessel containing remediation and oils and spill clean equipment has left a Louisiana port headed to Grand Bahama and is expected to arrive in 90 hours at the terminal. As a more immediate response, a 16-seater helicopter will arrive in Grand Bahama at approximately 9 a.m. Sunday, September 8th, 2019, with equipment and manpower to contain the present spill, given the expected poor weather conditions. Further, Equinor is sourcing additional materials and supplies from Buckeye in Grand Bahama to supplement its supplies until the arrival of the vessel.
Search and rescue operations are well underway in the Aracos and Grand Bahama. But how are the health care needs of those affected being addressed? PAHO representative in the Bahamas, Dr. Esther de Gorville, has been given an update, as Mary Claire Williams tells us in this week's Newsline Health.
PAHO has launched an appeal to address the healthcare needs and support of the Ministry of Health to restore service to citizens in the aftermath of Hurricane Dorian. PAHO representative for the Bahamas, Dr. Esther de Gorville, says the organization is coordinating over a dozen agencies to support healthcare needs following the disaster. She says PAHO is requesting $3.5 million to cover 4 critical areas.
The first is to ensure that the affected population gets access to urgent health care, and that the injured and others receive psychological support as well as medical support for their conditions. The second area is related to potable water and restoring water for the populations affected. The third is in terms of sanitation and hygiene.
Dr. de Gorville says in Abaco, health officials have been able to function in limited capacity at the Marsh Harbor Clinic.
At Marsh Harbor, we have running water for sanitation, but there's a problem with the availability of potable water, and there's need to do some cleaning and sanitation of the clinic. There is a generator offering electrical power, and we have had, through the Ministry of Health, several teams who have gone in to relieve the healthcare workers who were working for 4 days or so without relief in the most dire situation. So some 8 nurses and 4 doctors have gone in and are supporting the healthcare needs in Marsh Harbor Clinic.
She says one of the main hospitals on Grand Bahama also suffered extensive damage.
Grand Bahama has one of 2 hospitals that serve the entire country, public hospitals. And this hospital suffered flooding damage as a result of the surge and high water that occurred during the hurricane. However, there is some operational capacity at the hospital and cleanup has been done, but there's need for in-depth sanitization of the facility to make it fully functional again. And operations, surgical and other functions cannot take place at the moment.
Dr. de Gorville says PAHO will continue to play its role in ensuring that individuals receive adequate health care in the aftermath of the hurricane. Mary Claire Williams, Newsline Health.
And still to come, an early general election could be announced in Dominica soon. The details after the break. Stay with us.
Tell us why she's considered an unusual body shape. You begin.
I'm considered an unusual body shape because of the proportions of my body, I'll say from neck to my feet.
Okay.
And my proportions are 44, 52, 100 inches.
Wait a minute, 100?
I have gone between 95 and 100 inches for the past.
After an emergency, you can help yourself and others by looking, listening, and linking. Looking because you want to see if the person has some signs that is in distressing. Looking for the symptoms, how best you can support the person. And then listening, because listening is very important. Listening with your ears, listening with your eyes. If you do that well, then you'll be able to link them to the appropriate resources.
Be ready, look, listen, and link.
Dominica's Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit says he is very close to announcing the date for general elections. An election is constitutionally due by March next year, but it's widely expected to be called for later this year. Now, speaking at the launch of the latest candidate of the ruling Dominica Labour Party on Sunday night, Skerrit told supporters they should be prepared for the polls.
Ensure that everyone is registered, because you will never know when that date will be announced. So be ready. Put oil in your lamps. Put on your breastplate and get ready to fight battle to defend the Dominica Labour Party and to secure the future of this country. I have the date for the elections, ladies and gentlemen. I had something to say to you tonight, but I want to give my candidates the courtesy of knowing before you. I can tell you the campaign team has told me that it is all set with all 8 cylinders ready for elections.
Over to Jamaica, where the opposition People's National Party has been told to put its house in order if it wants to win the next general elections. The advice from one political commentator follows the victory of Dr. Peter Phillips in the party's presidential elections on the weekend. We get the details in this report from TVJ News.
The race is over. Dr. Peter Phillips beat Peter Bunting by 76 votes, allowing Dr. Phillips to retain the title of PNP president. Many argue, however, that the wounds will take some time to heal. Add that to several controversial comments on the campaign trail. It may just give the governing JLP ammunition for the next general election.
There are things that have been said on platforms and elsewhere that can be used. That is a concern, and that's why the process of reconciliation is so important, that we begin it as soon as possible.
The healing period will have to be fast-tracked as the next general election is due by 2021. Political commentator Shalman Scott believes that the election will be sooner.
The mood of the delegates, the level of organization, the speech by Dr. Peter Phillips, and the response is though subdued of the Bunting camp, tell us that there is still a lot of substance and organizational capacity and mobilization within the PNP that can be utilized when that election shall have been called by Prime Minister Andrew.
In other news, the Prime Minister of St. Martin, Lenora Romeo Marlin, appeared to have collapsed on Monday after a legislator withdrew support for the administration. And that's rather the government of St. Martin. Franklin Mayers announced his decision to withdraw his support for the government as he ended his speech during the closing of the 2018 to 2019 parliamentary year. St. Martin has a multi-party system with numerous political parties in which a single party usually does not have a chance of gaining the power alone, and thus parties must work with each other to form coalition governments. Political observers there say it is unclear what effect Mayer's announcement will have on the coalition, but with one government legislator unavailable and 14 members sitting in Parliament, the withdrawal could result in a hung Parliament with each side having 7 members. Political observers say that at the start of a new political or new parliamentary term on Tuesday, St. Martin may very well see a new coalition formed or the sitting government being asked to tender its resignation. Doctors at Haiti's public hospitals are threatening an indefinite strike, accusing the government of failing to honor its commitments to provide salary increases and insurance for workers. President of the National Federation of Health Workers, Levi Milo Felix, said the strike would begin on September 16th, but he said President Jovenel Moïse could avert the industrial action by agreeing to implement the terms of a February 23, 2017 agreement. Felix is also accusing the authorities of discreetly providing some health officials and staff members with salary increases to the detriment of the demands of the majority. Now, if the strike goes ahead, it will be the latest in a series of industrial action to hit the health sector in Haiti. And Guyana has signed a pact to protect the Amazon, the world's largest tropical forest. The signing took place in Leticia, Colombia, where officials from Guyana joined those 6 fellow Amazonian countries. The pact, signed at a time when the Amazon is under threat from fires, aims to coordinate disaster response and satellite monitoring. We get more from Guyana's Department of Public Information.
Natural Resources Rafael Trotman traveled to Colombia and signed the agreement on behalf of President David Granger and the government of Ghana. He was accompanied by head of the Forest Carbon Partnership Facility Project, FCPF, Clayton Hall, and Guyana's ambassador to Brazil, George Talbot. The agreement aims to coordinate disaster response and satellite monitoring of the tropical forest. While delivering short remarks, Minister Trotman reiterated that President Granger is the visionary who conceptualized the Green State Development Strategy GSDS for Ghana, describing it as Ghana's lighted path towards attaining a green and sustainable economy, and is open to be shared and improved upon. The Amazon, which spans 8 countries including Ghana, is the world's largest rainforest. It produces approximately 20% of Earth's oxygen and covers 40% of South America. It is inhabited by 30 million people and home to a vast number of species of animals and plants. The other signatories are Colombia, Bolivia, Ecuador, Peru, Suriname, and Brazil.
And ahead in Newsline Sport, Karen Pollard is the new captain of the West Indies ODI and T20 teams. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Dominica! Yes! the promoter said, yes. We're making up. Yes. So what? Yes. Listen to this. Start to jump, 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 jump,
As a small business owner, you have to make sure your technology is available and operational at all times. But what happens when your network crashes, your email goes down, or your user systems get a virus? You may try to fix the issue yourself, but you can end up making the problem a lot worse. At Digital Networking Solutions, we're more than just people who try to fix your computers. We monitor, maintain, and support your IT systems so that you can focus on growing your business to its fullest potential. When you sign up for one of our IT support plans, we get familiar with your IT environments beforehand, so we can manage it proactively as if it were our own. Your business deserves the best IT services available to ensure it functions to its maximum efficiency. So give us a try today. Email or call us, and we will give you a free network assessment to determine whether now is the time for your small business to adopt Digital Networking Solutions for a smoother, more reliable network experience.
Coming up on Caribbean Passport, highlights of a memorable CariFesta 14 in Port of Spain, Trinidad and Tobago. The creativity of the Caribbean and all that the region has to offer was on full display. Celebrate our Festival of Arts as we strengthen the bond between us on Caribbean Passport, the CariFesta edition, right here on this station.
Cricket West Indies has sacked Jason Holder as one-day captain and Carlos Brathwaite as T20 skipper and appointed experienced batting all-rounder Kieron Pollard to lead the Caribbean side in the white ball formats. In a media conference on Monday, CWI said it had accepted the recommendation of the selection task force that is headed by Vice President Dr. Kishore Shallow and includes Director of Cricket Jimmy Adams to implement specific red ball and white ball captains, and had subsequently ratified the choice of the 32-year-old Pollard.
As I mentioned before, sitting with us here today is Mr. Kieron Pollard, who, with immediate effect, has agreed to take up the position of captain of both our T20 and ODI white ball teams.
Now, Skerritt explained the process used in Pollard's appointment.
This appointment directly results from the recommended restructuring in leadership by the same task force in its quest to produce better selection and performance results. I want to publicly congratulate Mr. Pollard on his appointment and to thank the task force for the excellent work they have achieved and for the very important transformational recommendation they have made of Mr. Pollard's appointment.
Now, Pollard averages 25 from 101 ODIs with 300s, but has not represented West Indies in the format in nearly 3 years. In T20s, which is his specialty, he has played 62 matches with an average of 21 with 3 50s. In an immediate response, former captain Dwayne Bravo welcomed the announcement of Pollard's appointment, pledging his support for his fellow Trinidadian. Bravo also urged fans of West Indies cricket to allow Pollard to settle in his new role before expecting to see positive signs in West Indies cricket.
Captain and new leader will bring new energy, and I think the results not going to turn by the flip of a coin straight away. But I think if you give him time and allow him to build his team, you're going to see upliftment towards West Indies cricket, and you're going to see the white ball format definitely taking its turn to the positive side. And I'm just happy that my friend is now become the West Indies captain, and I'm going to give him my support 100%. And I think the people will expect full 100% commitment and dedication.
to the Caribbean Premier League now. Nicholas Puran returned to haunt the team that let him go, slamming a stroke-filled unbeaten half-century for Guyana Amazon Warriors as they strolled to their third straight win in a dominant 47-run victory over Barbados Tridents on Sunday night. Sent in at the Guyana National Stadium, Amazon Warriors recovered from a shaky start to post a challenging 180 for 4 with left-handed Puran hitting 61 off just 30 balls. Left-handed opener Chandra Paul Hemraj had earlier punished the Tridents bowlers with a top score of 63 from 55 deliveries, while all-rounder Sherfin Rutherford arrived later to unleash a savage 14-ball unbeaten 32. In reply, Tridents extended their woeful run in the CPL dating back to last season, being dismissed for 133 in the 17th over. Only Ashley Nurse, batting at number 7, showed any enterprise with a top score of 40 of 25 balls now. South African left-hander JP Dumini, a late inclusion in the Trident squad, was the only other player to reach 20. And on Saturday night, Shimron Hitmaya returned to form with a typically entertaining half-century to fire the Warriors, that's the Amazon Warriors, to their second win of the CPL with an 8-wicket victory over St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots. Chasing a hardly daunting 154 at the Guyana National Stadium, the hosts strolled to their target with 7 balls to spare to follow up their opening win over St. Lucia Zouks at the same venue last Thursday. Let's take a look back at Amazon Warriors' runs chase.
Amazon Warriors started beautifully. Brandon King and Hemraj were absolutely on fire to start with. They shot ball around the ground, loose bowling and a little bit of poor fielding to start St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots off. But by and large, these two openers for the Warriors were sensational. Had a very good power play.
Maximums here and there. Terrific diving effort. And then have a look at this catch. Looking for a wicket, looking to spark something in the bowling effort. Fabian Allen taking a spectacular diving catch back to point. But then, look at this man come to the crease. Hetmeyer. Absolutely fierce on anything short. Wonderful batting performance, and it was through good quality batting.
Samamir put one down and then he took one. King, that was out. And then Hetmeyer, well, he got dropped. Fingertip to it.
And that's the sport. Stay with us. We'll be right back. A recap of the day's developments. Bahamian authorities ease up on immigration crackdown amid Hurricane Dorian recovery. And in sport, Karen Pollard is the new captain of the West Indies ODI and T20 teams. This Caribbean Newsline. For news and sports around the club, subscribe to CaribNews.com. For more for our programming, log on to CaribVision.tv and check out our YouTube channel. We'll be back here again tomorrow, but from all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching. Have yourselves a good night.